Hey everyone, welcome to my first Warhammer 40k video. In this, as I'm sure you read in the description, I'll be covering the top 5 things that I wish I knew when starting into this awesome game. So, let's go ahead and get into it, kick things off with the first item. Number 1. No class is better than any other. I don't know if you've seen other channels or videos with titles saying, use this class now, it's broken. Well, I'm just here to tell you that they are literally 2 tons of shit in a 1 ton sack, and they just want you to watch their bias video. Every class has a unique set of perks and skills that make them very niche for what they do. You want to be a bulwark and withstand the enemies of the Emperor? As an almost invincible and immovable object that brings forth fury and wrath on the front lines? Do it. Want to be a sniper and hang in the background, stealthing in and out of combat, taking the heads of heretics and Tyranid elites alike, but being easily overwhelmed by Minoris-type enemies? Go for it. Want to be a high damage dealing, horde clearing god in service to the Emperor and your brothers, but sometimes suffer against higher tier enemies? Then look no further than the heavy class, my personal favorite. The basics here is play whatever class you find fun. You paid money for the game, just play it how you want. Just know that every class has some things that they're great at and some that they're not. But that's why you have teammates to pick up where you falter and vice versa. So, just have fun. It's the best way you can play. Number 2, leveling progression. When you finish off the campaign and start into the world of PvE operations, or the ever-fun PvP modes, there are some things to consider. Firstly, in PvP, you don't level up and advance your perk tree as you would in PvE. Instead, you get weapon leveling under veteran unlocks. So, keep this in mind if you want to play PvP, as it took me about 2 or 3 matches to realize I wasn't advancing my perk tree for the heavy class. Now, into the world of PvE. Every class gets a perk when they level up, until they reach the maximum level of 25, with there being 3 tiers of perks that are broken up into 4 different categories. These are your core, team, gear, and signature perks. Now, as you can see on my heavy class, under core, I have 20 extra health selected, but not the perk that increases my damage when a weapon overheats. I have fortitude over thermal boost. And that's simply because this vertical column that you see here, you can only pick one of the 3 perks to have active at a given time. Also, since I use the heavy class and the Melta, it doesn't overheat when you use like your other 2 primary weapons. Understanding the perk tree and progression took me and my friends a couple of hours to figure out, and even one of them thought it was a bug that he wasn't getting a perk that he had unlocked, but didn't have actively selected, which I can't really blame him because the game didn't outright give you this information, though it should seem obvious from its current layout. Just keep some of these things in mind when you're leveling up and creating builds that you find fun and interesting. Number 3, armor buying and unlocks. Now, right out of the gate, you'll start with 200 requisition points, which is this right over here, once you jump into the operations side of the house, and it's always displayed by your name in the top right hand corner when you're actually in the armoring hall. This is used for almost every upgrade in the game, from weapons to perks, which we'll cover in the next section, and even some of your cosmetics in the game. Now, there may be some folks that say, don't buy anything and save it for later to upgrade your gear and perks. Screw that. Do what you want with your in-game currency and play the game how you want to play it. Personally, I went right into the armory and started buying cool new looking colors and chapter emblems because I thought they looked fucking cool. So, when you start playing, you'll automatically start to unlock some of these cool looking cosmetics for your class, which you can see right here. Whenever you level up and play a certain amount of missions, achieve victory in 20 missions in operations mode or matches in eternal war mode to unlock, that's what you get. It's really fun. It's really cool looking. So, but this does not apply to some of the colors that you want to get. So, if you come here to customization, click on this, you can see that there's colors in here. Also, something the game doesn't tell you outright is that you can use certain colors, but you need to buy them within the heraldry tab. So, for example, if I come in here, grab this, and I want to get, we'll just do none oil. You see here it says show in heraldry, which then unlocks this, and then you can unlock the other things associated with that, the emblems and color patterns. But certain things come with certain armor pieces as well. This one in particular comes with the Deathwatch armor part. Same with the Successor, the Storm Giants, and the really weird shark name that I have no idea what it is. So another thing that the game doesn't tell you outright is that you can set custom rules. When you first come into the game and start editing your armor for the first time, you're going to have just a general rule and maybe a custom rule for your helmet, and that's about it. What you can do is you'll scroll down and have an add button here, and if you click the add button, it'll give you the option to select different parts of your armor to individually customize as you so see fit. So if I want my right gauntlet to be red because I think it looks cool, and that's what I want to do. If I wanted to change my helmet to be red because I want to be a sergeant, boom, done. So just something to keep in mind. Play around with it, have some fun. Number 4, weapon progression. This mechanic of weapon unlocks can be a little confusing at first, seeing as you're incentivized to upgrade your weapons, but it doesn't fully make sense right out of the gate. Weapon upgrades and progression can be broken down into 4 basic categories: XP gained in a mission, mastery points invested in those weapons, tiered weapon data that is found in the missions themselves, and requisition points, which we just covered a little bit previously. Let's start with XP gained in the mission. Firstly, every weapon for every class has an XP bar that shows the progression of that weapon that you used in the missions that you played, and this unlocks tiers within the progression system. Weapon XP can be viewed at the end of missions, regardless of whether you were victorious or were defeated, and in the armory aboard the battle barge. Just select the weapon you wish to view the progression of. So for here, we're going to grab this, and you'll see everyone's going to start with the standard, and it'll be at 0. Every time you use this weapon in a mission, you get a certain amount of XP for it. As you can see, I'm in the Mastercrafted, and I need to finish out this right here. Be 1 or 2 more missions, and this will be completely upgraded, which is awesome. But it can also be a giant pain, because some weapons take a long time. So, second over, we're going to cover the mastery points. Mastery points are used as a specific upgrade for your selected weapon and are the lifeblood of doing more damage, having more ammo, or even swinging your melee weapon faster and harder. So, an example here, even though I have all of this, you'll see there it has a mastery bar that shows an XP. Now, these points can be obtained specifically by going into a mission, using the weapon, and leveling it up. I will switch over to my Bulwark to show this off for the Power Fist. So if you look here at this Power Fist, I have this one, which has 985 XP on it out of 2600. I can either continue using this inside the missions, level it up this way, or I can cheese the system and burn one of my tiered weapon data that you obtain in the missions, which we're going to cover in just a second, and cheese it and just upgrade it. But as you can see, I only have 2 of those right up here in the top. I'm not going to do that. So keep that in mind if you want to do this, because the mastery points, you get a mastery point after you fully upgrade the XP on a weapon that you're using. Then once you get a mastery point, you can go into your perk tree and start at one of the top up here. For the Bulwark, you can either, when you have full armor, melee damage increases by 10%, or melee damage just increases at a flat 5%. And every time you upgrade a weapon and fully max it out under the versions tab, you get a mastery point. So then you can take those mastery points and spend them here however you want. Next, we have the tiered weapon data, which must be found in the missions themselves and are tiered in Mastercrafted, Artificer, and Relic. You unlock these different tiers by upping the difficulty of your operations. So, the first 2 difficulties get you the Mastercrafted, the 3rd difficulty gets you Artificer, and the hardest difficulty gets you Relic. These can be collected by finding specifically Armory Data Servo Skull that is hidden somewhere on the map and is up to you to find. Or you can also get them from defeating Terminus level enemies. These are the ones named with the health bars, such as the Carnifex and the Neurothrope for the Tyranids, and the Hellbrute for the Chaos Heretics. This also means that you can in fact get 2 Armory data in a single mission if you're lucky enough to get a Terminus level enemy. A thing to take note of is that there are mission-specific Terminus enemies, and these enemies do not give you any Armory data. For example, the second mission you have to kill the Hive Tyrant. If you don't get a Carnifex or a Neurothrope during that journey to kill the Hive Tyrant, once you get to the Hive Tyrant and you beat him, you do not get tiered weapon data for that. It's unfortunate. Yes, it's a Terminus level enemy. No, you don't get it. Game doesn't tell you that. I'm here to tell you that's the way it is. It sucks. Maybe they'll change it in the future, but that's what it is. Lastly are the requisition points that we covered in the previous section. But the general idea here is that you must complete all the missions in the operation mode to get requisition points to upgrade your weapons. And yes, I said you must complete them. If you fail a mission, you don't get any points. You just get the XP for how far you got in that mission. And every difficulty has a varying level of how many requisition points you get per mission that you do. So if we run out of here real quick, leave the armory, run back to the terminal to select a mission, we can get an idea of what we got. So you'll see here under substantial, these are the different ones. Threat average, these are the part of the first 2. You'll see here when you hover over, you get 945 XP for completing the mission, 55 requisition points, and the potential for discoverable armory data. If we bump that up to substantial, you'll see that you get 1260 XP, 95 requisition points, and a purple discoverable armory data, or artificer. Purple, artificer, use whatever word you want. And if you select the last one, which I haven't done yet, you get 1890 experience, 165 requisition points, and then you get the relic discoverable armory data. So keep all of those things in mind when you're running around doing all the things that you want to do in the game. Number 5. Don't worry about perfect gameplay. The biggest thing about this game is the teamwork that you get from your battle brothers in the thick of the fight to help each other overcome a difficult boss or challenge in the game itself. If you're not super great at first-person shooters, don't worry. This game is hard and definitely can be punishing, but it's also not impossible. If you have friends that you play with, then focus on communication and staying within proximity of each other, because you as an individual can be overwhelmed very quickly. Now, personally, I'm not an expert in 40k lore, but the way I seem to understand it is Space Marines don't just stand in one spot, try to bully their enemies, and be this immovable wall. It's not how it works. They move around a lot, and sometimes they're faster than the normal human eye can perceive, according to the lore. So, if you find yourself overwhelmed, try dodging, giving yourself a little spacing if you need it, but in a real pinch, the game doesn't tell you this, but sometimes you can just advance to another area where a door closes or an elevator goes up, and then the horde just disappears. Now, if you drop down into a hole and they can follow you, they're going to follow you, for sure. And if that hole leads to another area where they can come at you from that direction, the horde may just respawn in front of you. So keep that in mind, know the levels that you're playing on, and you'll be just fine. If you make it this far, thank you very much for sticking around and watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you wish you had known when starting this awesome game. Also, I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, right here on YouTube. So swing by and say hi. Thank you, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.